Alrighty, there we go. Well, happy Tuesday again. Got a couple things today, not too much. Let's take a peek. Did not get your Project 3s. I'm sorry, I didn't get your Project 3s graded. I will get those. The Project 4 was due today. We ended up pushing that back over break. A couple people needed a little more time on it. So we got a little more time to get working on that one. And then we are officially in the home stretch. Come on, where's my page controls? No, oh, okay. Just roll that way. We have more JavaFX stuff today. Not anything out of the chapter necessarily. I'm going to show a couple examples. We'll look at some of the layouts that we might use. We'll talk about the final project, the rubric for it, and then Project 4. I think that's what we've got today. So we'll talk a little bit more about design and how we can use classes to keep all of our business logic separate from the user interface. And then our event handling, all the responding to users clicking buttons, doing anything that we want them to do, we'll communicate to the class with methods, and then we'll essentially update the display. So it gives us a nice little separation of concerns there. Next week, I'll plan on being here, just hanging out as long as you folks want to hang out and work. I have no plans to talk about anything. So it's strictly work time. If you paired up with somebody, fantastic. If you weren't up for that and want to take it on individually, that's cool too. Whatever's going to work well for you. And I think I did mention I've got the Monday, Wednesday morning class. If you folks wanted to find somebody in that class, you're welcome to pair up with somebody from there too if you happen to know them or found them in Discord or something. And then in 2 weeks from tonight, I will finally shut up. And you folks get a chance to get up here and play your games, show off what you did. I might ask a question or two, look at the code, and we'll call it good. So it's like maybe 5 minutes at the short end, maybe 10 minutes at the long end, depending if you're having a lot of fun with your game or not, of playing the game, showing off your code, and that's the presentation. It's not like you don't need a PowerPoint presentation or anything. You're going to go up, play your game, show that it does A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and show your classes. Like in your code, this is how it all kind of connects together, and life is good. So I know presentations aren't everybody's thing, but the more you do, the more comfortable you get with them. So it's definitely good practice because ideally, if you get into the software world and you write really cool software, you get a chance to present it to people. And you're not going to be like the Steve Jobs up on the stage, but internally at least, at your organization, you can present the stuff you've done. And that's really good practice. So, and we'll go from there. All right, so we'll do Project 4 first, then you want to do the rubric for the final project, and then some more JavaFX examples, and then call it a night. Again, we'll have time to work at the end of tonight. I don't imagine going much past 8. Shouldn't take us super long for any of these, and we should be good to go. Okay? All right, so I'll start with a new project here for Project 4. And we'll get this one going. Let me pull that project so I've got the right stuff here. Well, I'm going to get chat here on my phone, too. I gave up trying to have the other laptop just for chat. Project 4. Okay, no one's in chat anyway. It's good. All right, so this is our little shopping program, right? Whether or not we were managing the inventory or selling things here. 2 parts. So whether or not they're going to manage their items or like turn it into essentially a selling mode here. So we'll start with that. And then item, right, essentially had 2 things. It had the quantity and the price. So if we wanted to, we could go through and write a class for item. Not required here, but it might be fun to do that. So make a new class for item. Now quantity is probably always an integer, right? That's going to be a whole number value. So private int for quantity and then a private double for price likely, right? Because you're probably going to have pennies for the price here. And then let's go through and let's insert some code, get our getters and our setters. So getters and setters for everything. do both, and then we'll add some constructors. I think probably the only constructor we need is one that takes the parameters. I don't think we need a constructor that gives me default values. I think if you want an item, you give me the item, the quantity, and the price. And did I lose the projector? It was working so good. Hang on. Usually it's on the monitor here, and I forgot to turn that on. Give it a wiggle. Come on. Wake up. My monitor won't even turn on. Did I really break something? Oh, goodness. Come on. Give it some wiggles. We're having some technical troubles here. So unplug and replug, I guess. Unplug, replug. Yeah, why doesn't this even turn on? Power's on. Yeah. There. Oh, we got the projector back. I still don't have my monitor, but that's okay. Just shout at me if I kick the projector again. This will just move the mouse further away. All right. So the constructor, right? We probably don't need a constructor that has no quantity and no price. We're going to know what they are. We're going to ask user for them first before we make the item, or we can read them out of the file, and we can go from there. Okay. So if we wanted to, we could also make this. Well, it needs a name, doesn't it? My mistake. We need a private string for name, right? Need the name of the item. Oh, goodness. Yep. So you need to know what the item is, right? So it's inserts more getters and setters. And we'll fix up that constructor. Sure, let's do string name. And then this name equals name. Okay. Cool. So if I would have remembered that first, we would have been better. Okay, so name, quantity, and price. If we want to, we could have this be able to write to a file. We could add that as a method. That could be a thing that item does, right? So we could add a method for, probably a public void write to file. Sure, we can do all that here. So if we want to write a item to the file, we're going to make a print writer. Print writer, not printer writer. Print writer. Print writer equals a new print writer. Given the name plus .txt. Right? We don't necessarily need the txt extension, but it's useful in that my operating system will know how to open the file. Right? That's what we get out of it. And now it's going to say, oh, I don't know what a print writer is. Sure, we'll add the imports. And then it's going to be mad because we didn't do a try catch. So maybe, do we want to try with this one? It might make more sense just to have this one throw. Because if this one fails, there's not much we can do in the class, but whoever calls this method then can handle that file not found exception and go with it from there. Because if you tell the item to write itself to a file and it doesn't do it, you need to know about it. So you need that exception handed to you essentially. Okay, so we make the print writer, then we print writer, and we print line. Do you want to do quantity first or name first? Or quantity or price? As long as we know which one we're doing. So we'll do quantity first, and then we'll print line price. Print writer, print line, price. Now again, this is totally optional. You didn't have to do this in the class. There are no points for doing this in a class here, but I think this kind of makes life a little easy for us here. Cool. So we can write it to a file, get the quantity and the price out. Great. In terms of reading item from a file, we could do that too. We could try and make a public item given a file object. We'll call it an item file as a constructor. Just a way we might try it here. So if we create a file and hand that to item as a constructor, then it can go set the quantity and price. So name then would be item file dot get name here. I think that's going to remove the txt. I don't actually remember right now. If probably won't remove the txt. So we can want to call remove or replace. Right? We can replace this one. Character sequence. Oh, we can do a substring. And if we do from 0 up to item file, get name, length -4, I think, right? To get rid of the .txt. That'll probably do it. All right, so we get the name of the file, and then we're going to go open the file and get our quantity and price back out. Okay, so let's do that. So then we'll make a scanner object. Scan, this is my file reader, equals a new scanner, given the item file. And yeah, it doesn't know what a scanner is. Sure, I have their imports. And again, this probably we want to throw again. Like if it doesn't work, just throw the exception. Okay, and then we'll take our quantity is equal to our file reader dot next line. And then we want to convert that to an integer. So integer.parseInt, given the file reader next line. And then our price is going to be a double.parseDouble, given the file reader next line. And then we want to close it. File reader.close. Right, good practice. We should also close our print writer. Print writer.close. Open it, read, write, and close it. This was optional. Like this didn't necessarily have to happen in the item class. This seems like fun to do that in the item class. All right, no chat. It's still not connecting on my phone. I don't know why. Come on, phone. See if that connects. All right, so then we can create a file either by name, quantity, price. We can write it to a file with its own name, txt. We can read it. I think this will work. We'll try it and see how well that goes for us. All right. So then in terms of our program, right, we need to ask them, do you want to manage your inventory or sell items? And then we'll get a string, I don't know, for their choice. And, you know, maybe like M for manage or S for sell, or I mean, something to indicate what we're looking for here. If we're going to do that, we need a scanner for keyboard. The new scanner given system in. That'll be our keyboard.nextLine. We got to import our scanner. Okay, and then if choice.equals ignoring case is an M, that's manage mode, M, right? Else if my choice equal ignoring case is an S, that's sell mode. Otherwise, I don't know, I can't do that. Sure. I don't know. That ends. I don't know. Pick one or the other. Now these ones then we're going to be inside of a loop, right? Then we're supposed to, they can keep managing items until they want to quit. So we'll have a string for, I don't know, again, we'll start it off as a Y. Yes, we want more to do, or we could ask them, you know, instead, hey, do you want to create a new item? Do you want to update an item? Do you want to delete an item? Or do you want to quit? We could do that too. So I'll always say while choice.equals ignore case a Q for quit, and while not quit, let's keep on going. Right? So we can just reuse this choice here for what do they want to do. So you want to create an item, or is that add an item maybe? I don't know. Add an item, update an item, update an item, or delete an item, or quit. Right, and then we'll get their choice. Equals keyboard.nextLine. And we can do add, update, or delete. Right, so if my choice.equals ignore case is add, else if my choice equal ignoring case is an update, or else if my choice equal ignoring case is a delete, we'll do something. If it's not any of those, then we just stop, right? Whole thing's done. Okay, and this while loop will end. We finished our if, program should stop. So for adding an item, then we need to ask them the name, the quantity, and the price. What is the item name? And we'll have a string for name equals keyboard.nextLine. And then we'll have a integer for quantity, right? So ask them what quantity do you have? We'll have an int for quantity equals integer.parseInt of the keyboard next line. Nope, not curly braces. Those are just parentheses. And then same for price. What is the item price? And that'll be a double for price. Will be double parse double given keyboard.next line. Okay, once we have all of those, then we need to make the item. So item, new item. I don't know, we'll just call it lowercase item equals a new item, given the name, the quantity, and the price. Price. Then we need to write the file, so item.write file. Now here we should do a try catch, right? So we should try, because we know something bad could happen here. And we want to catch a, what was that, a file not found exception, I think? File not found exception. And we'll just, I don't know, print out the exception. Nothing super fancy here, but if it didn't work, it didn't work. We give them a message. Or maybe we say, hey, failed to create item. Try again. And then maybe also print the exception. I don't know. If it fails, our user's probably not going to have a lot of luck fixing it, but, you know, maybe they can try again. Okay, that's to create an item. If they want to update an item, we need to see if that item exists first, right? So essentially with add item, we're going to, if it did exist already, we're just overwriting it. So maybe that's bad form. Maybe we should have checked that, but I don't think anything asked you to check for it, so no big deal. I think someone, when I was working with them, you gave them the item name, and then it either did an add or update based on whether or not the file existed. And I thought that was pretty smart. You could say, hey, what's the name of the item? And then if it didn't exist, okay, we'll add it. If it did exist, okay, let's update it. So, I mean, both of those were kind of cool. But let's go with update. So if we want to update, so we need the name of the item. What is the item name? Okay, given the name. And then we need to go create a file and see if it exists. So we'll make a file. This is my item file with a new file, given the name plus .txt. And then if item file .exists, right, we could do our checking here. Oh, we got to add our imports first. If it exists, why is that type ahead so bad? Exists. Then we can go and make that item. So then we'll have an item equals a new item, equals a new item, given that item file, right? And then we'll go and read it for me. And this could crash, right? So we put that in a try block. So try, and then we'll catch a file not found exception. And probably, I don't know, failed to read item. Try again, maybe. Print out the exception, sure. So if we did make the item, then we need to tell them the current price, right? So current quantity is my item.getQuantity. And we need to tell them the current price. Current price is item.getPrice. Then essentially we want to do this exact same thing then. What is the quantity? What is the price? And make a new item out of it. Try and write. So if we're going to do this exact same code, right, we should probably make a method out of it somehow. If this is what's happening here. Bless you. Right? So we don't want to copy paste because then we'll feel bad about ourselves. So this is, but you want to just do the getting price and quantity, or do you want to get the whole writing here? Probably get price and quantity and write, because we already have the name here, right? And we already have the item here. Because we want to make a new item with a new quantity and price. Let's do that. Let's take all of this out. So I'm going to do right click, go to refactor, and I want to introduce a method here. Let's call this get quantity and price for item, and write it. Write to file. Really ugly and long, but that's okay. It shouldn't need the. Oh, okay. If we pass it the scanner, it doesn't need to make its own scanner, but it passes the name. Sure, that's fine. We'll do the same thing. We'll get the quantity and price. for the item and write it to a file. So if you give me the scanner per keyboard, I don't have to make a new one. That was nice there. And then the string for the name, right? We can use the name passed in to make that item file, write it to the file, life is good. This will automatically overwrite. Remember when we use a print writer? It just overwrites by default. So there's no erasing we have to do. So that makes sense why we kind of made this method here. And it's static, right? It's private. We don't need access to it anywhere else. It just exists here. So update for delete then, great. Let's get the item name and make a file out of it. Well, that could be a method too, right? So let's do that. So let's introduce refactor, introduce method. Introduce a method. This is, oh, too many return values. All right, I'll have to do it ourselves then. So we'll cut that out. We'll make a private static file, get file name, and return file. I don't know. Create file. Given a scanner for keyboard, maybe. Make the item file, and we'll return the item file. Cool. So we can get the file name. So that'll be my file item file equals get that given the keyboard. We can do the same thing for deleting then, right? Add, update, or delete. We'll get the file, and then item file dot delete. And then maybe tell them removed. I will just tell it remove, because to get the name out, we'd have to do that item file name again and all that nonsense. So the weird thing about delete is if the file doesn't exist, it doesn't throw exceptions. It just fails kind of quietly. So I believe it gives you back a true or false. So we could look to see if it was successful or not. But for our purposes, you say you delete the item. If there was a file, we'll delete it. If it didn't exist, fine. I mean, we just don't sell that thing you typed in anymore. Maybe we want to do some sanity checking, see if the file existed and tell them it didn't exist or not. But again, it's a little bit above and beyond. All right. We okay so far? Oh, we don't have name here. What do we have? Oh, shoot. We don't have the name of the file because we only have item file again. Oh, we have item.getName. There we go. We can get the name out of the item itself here. All right, so we should see if we can manage items, and then we'll worry about selling after. That seem okay? All right. We're having fun, right? Yeah, this is fun. All right, we need to manage our inventory. You want to add an item? Yeah, we should add an item. What's the item name? Let's add some coffee. We've got maybe a dozen coffees, and we sell them for $1.99. Cool, and let's see now, do we have a coffee file in Project 4? Got a coffee txt. It has quantity, it has a price. Looking good so far. Should we add another item? Should we sell some tea, maybe? We've got 10 teas, and we'll sell tea for $2.50. Okay, let's see if we got a txt file. There we go. Let's go update one. Let's go, how about we, oops, I don't want my output here. Let's go update an item. Let's update T, current quantity, current price. What's the new quantity? Right, let's restock. Let's add it to 20, and let's say the price went down. We're having a sale here. So now T should have $20 and $2. Looking good so far. Should we try and delete one? Let's delete T. All right, we removed T. The T file's gone. We still have coffee. So it seems good so far. Let's go ahead and quit. Seems to be working. All right, now let's try selling items. Cool. So what do we want to buy? We'll make a file out of it and see if the file exists. So ask them, what do you want to, or I guess this is on a loop, right? So we'll say while, same idea, right? Q, or do we want like to say, have them enter an item name to buy or enter quit and assume we don't sell a quit file? Let's do that. So, I don't know, so string while, just have a string for item to buy is nothing, and while item to buy equals ignore case quit, And while it does not equal quit, ask them, what item do you want? What do you want to What do you want to buy? So I guess this is the same. What is the item name? Should we just do that? We use the same method? We can do that, right? But then we don't have the name of it. We only have the file. That's kind of a bummer. I wanted to use the same method again. That's sad. That's fine. We'll skip it. What do you want to buy? And then we'll have a item to buy. Keyboard.next line. Okay, we'll get that, and then we'll see if that file exists, right? Or I guess if they didn't enter quit, we have to ask again. Right? As long as it's not quit, which is kind of annoying. Because that way, if they entered quit, we just want it to stop, right? So if they didn't enter quit, then we can keep on going. And then we'll make a file. This is the item to buy. Oh, we already have an item to buy. File. Item file equals a new file. Given the item to buy plus .txt. Where's that quote there? And then if the item file .exists, and if it doesn't exist, right, we tell them we don't sell that. Right? But if it does exist, great, then we can make an item out of it. So item equals a new item given the item file. We'll go read all the current price and quantity. And this should probably be in a try block, right? Catch a file not found exception. And I don't know, something bad happened. Please try again. And we can print out the exception too. Sure. All right, so we got an item. Now we need to tell them what the price, right? Do we want to tell them the quantity and the price? Current quantity, item.getPrice. Hey, we did this before, didn't we? Right, we print this out. Is that worth doing 2 lines? I guess we could. We could put 2 lines in one if we wanted. Or I can copy paste that. I mean, feeling a little bad about that, but it's probably okay. You want to save 1 line? Make that a method? Let's do it. So we'll introduce refactor, introduce method. It says, I don't know, print file, quantity, and price. Oh, that's an item. Quantity and price. Sure. Look at that. Replace this duplicate. It even knows we had duplicate code. How smart is NetBeans? That's so fancy. Isn't NetBeans amazing? Any good development tool is going to save you time. Like, this is stuff we do all the time. All right. So we'll print the item, quantity, and price, and we'll ask them, how many do you want to buy? How many do you want to buy? And we'll get an int for number to buy. Equals an integer.parseInt, given the keyboard next line. Okay, and then if my item to buy, or number to buy, is less than or equal to my item.getQuantity, we're good. Right, we can. Otherwise, we'll tell them, sorry, we don't have that many. Try again. So if we do, though, right, now we need to go update the quantity of the item. So we'll take our item, we'll call setQuantity, to the item.getQuantity minus the number to buy. Right? And then we'll tell the item to write. We just bought that many. Great. And then again, we'll ask them for some payment information. Please enter your Bitcoin wallet. I don't know, to buy from, I don't know, sure. And then keyboard next line. We don't actually do anything with it, so sure, we'll just throw it away. We'll just be silly here. I don't even think it works that way, right? You don't give someone your number. You have to send them money. Isn't that how that works? Shows what I know about crypto. I think you need their wallet, and then you send the transaction, because you have to initiate it as the person who has your private key. So, sure. But anyway, we'll just pretend. Maybe they're dumb enough to give me their whole Bitcoin wallet. We'll just steal all their Bitcoin. Because that'd be cool, right? I mean, not cool. There's another word for that. There's a good word. I just don't know what it is. All right, cool. And if we don't, we tell them we don't have any. Try again. We'll give that a try. So let's buy some items. Or, oh, shoot, sell. It didn't put me in sell. Sell mode. While it's not quit, we should keep going. Did I enter S for sell mode? What did I do? Set S. Choice equals ignore case S. Uh-oh. Oh, I wonder if it didn't actually build. Let me check that project setting again. Compile and save thing. That's probably what it was. Give that a try. Now I bet it'll work. All right, still no chat. All right, no problem. All right, and let's sell. All right, what do we want to buy? Coffee. Current 12 at $1.99. What do you want to buy? Let's buy 10 of them. Oh, we were supposed to tell them how many, the total cost, weren't we? Right. Tell them the total price. Okay, so we forgot that step. So let's pause that a second. Go back to here. So the total price then, if they want to buy them, is total cost. I guess we can do it here. Total cost is, we'll take our number to buy, multiply by the item get price. Okay, add our little dollar sign. Cool. We can even do some formatting if we cared to. We're not all that particular right now. We can go from there. Let's see if that works now. Gotta buy all the coffee. Let's sell an item. Let's buy some coffee. Let's buy, oh, there's only 2 left. Uh-oh. Let's buy 10. Oh, we can't do that many. What do we want to buy? I guess we should tell them or quit, right? We're getting close. Or quit. What do you want to buy? Do you want to buy or enter quit to stop shopping? Okay, there we go. So let's go back. Let's fix up our coffee menu here. It's our output. Stop that. Go back to manage mode. Let's update coffee. Now we'll say we have 20 in stock again. Price is $1.99. Great. Then we'll quit that. We'll run again. Go back to buy mode. See if we can buy some coffee. Go to sell mode. Let's buy coffee. Let's buy 10 coffees. That's $19.90. Great. Bitcoin wallet address gibberish. And quit. And we can stop shopping. All right. Let's see if we hit all the things in the rubric here. 2 modes. Manage items, shop mode. Great. You can add new items. We create the file. Quantity and price are written. We can update existing quantity and price while displaying the current one. Right? And we update the new values. We can delete an item. We can buy anything we want. If it doesn't exist, tell them we don't sell it. Do we actually try that one? We should try and buy something that doesn't exist. If it does exist, display current price and quantity on hand. Enter the quantity to buy. Pretend payment information. Update the quantity in the file. Keep buying until they get bored. So the only thing we need to try then is, can we pretend to buy an item that doesn't exist and have it tell us no? Sorry, we don't sell that. All right. Quit. I think we're good. What do you folks think? Do we hit everything on the list? Okay. And I didn't need to use the item as a class here. I thought this was kind of fun. A nice way to break up some of that. This was getting a little bit long here. This probably could have been better put into other methods, like a manage method or a shop method, so that my main is not so huge. I'm feeling a little bit bad. It's like 90 lines or 80 line main. That's kind of large. So we could have done better there, breaking this up into, here's the manage mode, right? And here's the sell mode. And then each of them could have been their own. Here's an add item as a method. Here's a update item as a method. Here's a delete item as a method. Like, we could have broken that up a little bit better here, but sell is kind of large. That's probably fine. And then these were just fun things. We didn't have to do the same code twice and feel bad about ourselves. All right, thoughts, questions, concerns? This one would go okay? Not too bad? No? All All right, cool. Let me commit that one to GitHub then. And then why don't we change gears, we'll talk about the final project rubric, and then we'll get into some more JavaFX stuff. 1500 here. It's project 4. All right, awesome. Maybe. Come on, GitHub. There it goes. Maybe. Hang on, ... Love this messages. All right, okay, we'll just go back here. All right, so let's go back to the final project. Discard changes. I don't think I made any changes, so I'll say yes. Let's go to the final project, pull up the rubric here. So this one's worth 40 points, so 1 point per percent of your final score. Hopefully that works out nice there. Again, the goal is everyone gets this done 100%. I would be super happy for everyone to finish this, get it done, and have something they're moderately proud of. It's not going to be the most interesting thing in the world, but it functional. It'll be a pretend little game. People can click through until they get tired of it, and you can have as much fun with it as you want. All right, so you need to add a rubric. So this is for the final project. Now I forgot I need this tab again. Is it won't let me see the actual project definition behind it? It's so fun. All right, so then for complete or we're missing. So I'm going to do these in sets of 5 points at a time, and we'll break this up. So we'll have 8 different pieces that we need to get out of here. Okay, the first one is going to be this 2D array here. So we'll have the maze is a 2D array list of rooms. Okay, so you can navigate around the maze. So you can go north, you can go south, you can go east, you can go west. If you hit the top of the maze, you can't go any farther north. If you hit the farthest west edge, you can't go any farther west. Right? So don't let them go there. Some rooms can even be blocked. So if there's a room that's just marked as blocked, say you can't go that way from any of the directions around it. Right? It's just a nice little two-dimensional list. They'll have the room class itself with all of the things for room. Right? So rooms have its location, right, where its X and Y is. It'll have whether or not it's blocked. They'll have an NPC, possibly. Like there's a 50-50 chance of that. And then there's so much gold that you could find in that room. Right? So the room class itself, 5 points for having that. Our player class, 5 points for having the player class with its stats. Non-player characters, our NPC class, 5 points there. Again, you'll notice they're really, really, really similar. There's not a whole lot that's different between the two. So if you want to take advantage of some kind of inheritance or some relationship that way, you're welcome to do it. Like, don't feel like just because it says 5 points for this, 5 points for this, they have to be completely separate things. Right? A lot of the things that they do are the same. They have very similar attributes. Their attack works basically the same way. So try and work smarter, not harder, with some of those. Okay, so we got room, player, NPC, and then now the functions here inside of the room, right? So that you can search a room. So searching a room, 5 points there. You can sleep in a room. 5 points for being able to sleep. You regain your hit points. There's a chance a monster randomly shows up, starts beating on you, that sort of thing. A run away from an NPC. Again, don't stress too much about how you want this to work. If you want it to go to the previous room, great. If you just want to go randomly, pick a direction, go for it. If you want to ask them, hey, which direction do you want to run? Great. Don't overthink that one too much. Just go for what's easy or what you think might be fun for the game, but get it functional first, and then add it in. And then our fight mechanic, between player and NPC. 5 points for that. So this one has a decent amount of logic with the fighting here. You know, I have to get their stats, we have to get our stats, they have to do some damage. But again, they're all, I mean, have a decent amount of things happening here between them. So whether or not you're, I mean, I think searching is probably the easiest one. So that's probably the easiest 5 points there. But in terms of fighting, running, or sleeping, there's additional things that have to happen. So 5 points for each of those. So that makes up the 40 points overall for the project. And there's no points for looking pretty. Looking pretty is great. That's a wonderful thing to do. We just don't have time to focus on that. Take other classes, learn more about human-computer interaction, heuristics, those sorts of things. We're just learning how to code here. So I don't care if it looks pretty or not. No big deal here. This is that overall score. It's nonsense. We'll attach the rubric. So the presentation day, I'm going to pull up the rubric for your group or your individual, and we'll go through. You'll play the game. I'll see, hey, you got the maze here. Hey, you can search, you can sleep, you can run, you can fight, navigate around the maze. Like this 2D array list is also like that you can navigate around it. Points for that. And then, hey, can you show me your classes? Can you show me your player, your NPC, your room class? And you show me some of the code there. And that's the presentation. I'll go check off the list. And you get your points. And then we're done. Okay? So hopefully low stress for the presentations. And then we've got time to work on it tonight. We've got time to work on it next week. And then in 2 weeks from tonight, we present. So it is coming up rather quick. But again, let's focus one little piece at a time. Do that functional decomposition, which hopefully you all said at your Thanksgiving dinners and made people look at you like you're crazy. Such a good term, though. Really such a good term. It's a shame. My father-in-law's a programmer. My brother's a programmer. My parents are engineers. So, like, no one's surprised when I'm a big nerd. Or at least I'm not surprised anymore, I guess. Yeah, we'll go from there. So I got to work on your project 3s. I'm sorry I don't have those in yet. I meant to do those over break. But I did the other classes and I forgot yours. So that's what I get for having 2 of the same class. I'll get those in shortly. I'll work on project 4s. So there shouldn't be any surprises. We'll do one last quiz on JavaFX stuff. Right, I'll post that tonight after we finish the rest of our JavaFX. And that'll be it for the grades. You know what? Actually, I might even skip the quiz because it's all out of the textbook. And we're not doing stuff out of the text. Should we just skip the quiz? Should we vote? All those in favor, say aye. In favor of skipping the quiz, aye. All those opposed, say nay. All right, the ayes have it. All right. Oh, we got to vote for skip. All right, thanks, Boogie. Cool. So we'll skip it. It would be the textbook questions anyway, which is we're trying not to do that approach because it's more painful. There's really cool things, and you can do great stuff programmatically by doing stuff in code. But I think the scene builder approach is going to be a little easier for us here. All right. So why don't we take a break? I'm going to get some Coke. I'm not wired enough as is. Need a little more caffeine. All right, Saramo, you vote for skip 2. All right, no one wants to do the quiz. That's okay. So I will go in. I don't know if I did it yet, and I'll have it drop your lowest quiz score. Everyone gets a pass on whatever their lowest quiz was. You're allowed to have a bad week, so I'll update that in D2L for you, and we should be good. So why don't we take 10? I'll go get some Coke. We'll pick it back up with more JavaFX examples, and then we'll wrap up the night with time to work on the project. Okay? Awesome. I'm gonna put some music on. Computer's sad and slow. Definitely need a new computer. It's only like 2.5. That's almost 3 years old now, isn't it? Yeah, that's a bummer. They don't make laptops like they used to. All right. Alrighty. All right, let's do some more GUI project stuff here. So again, you can copy paste the existing project, or you can go through the couple setup steps. Whichever way is going to be easier for you. I'll go through the setup steps one more time on a new project. So hopefully everyone had a chance to do that last week and got a GUI up and running. So we'll do GUI fun. And I'm just going to copy paste out of the other project here because that's how I remember how to do all these. And pull up my GitHub repo. And I'll go find that here. Let's do our GUI hello world. Go to that main. And I'll grab all this. I'll just grab all of that. All right, so the first thing, then, we're going to right-click the libraries in the project here. So this is GUI Fun. Go to Libraries and add our JavaFX or OpenJFX 17 library here. OpenJFX 17, add it. We'll right-click the project, go to the Run section, copy this line in here. GUI Fun, Properties. The Run section, paste this into VM options, great. And then go to the libraries, go to the Run tab, go to the module path, and add that library, OpenJFX 17 again. Okay, that's this step and this step. And then make sure we're using the same JDK platform and JFX version. So I had 16 earlier, so in the project properties and libraries, need to make sure I'm on JDK 17, not the 16, if I'm using the JFX 17. Just make sure all of our versions match, and life is good. Then our program needs to extends application, because it is a JavaFX application here. Adds our import for it. Great. And yeah, we have start. All right, let's just add stage. We'll add our imports here. There we go. Add the imports, add the imports, add the import, or copy paste those lines too. Either one should do the trick. Okay. Now I've got this example.fxml, so I need to change the name of that, right? So when I add my JFX file, so if you don't have the JFX here, that's okay. Just go to Other, go to JavaFX, Java, it's not listed. Okay, NetBeans forgot I have JavaFX. Sorry, if it forgets, just go to Options. NetBeans is annoying sometimes, as cool as it is with other things. Go to Java, go to the JavaFX tab, and it should reactivate those modules. Life is good. There we go. Activate my modules. Sorry, that's my sugar. Yeah, it's higher than it should be. Come on. Let's give that a try. All right, so we activated the modules. Now I should be able to go find the JavaFX, add a new empty fxml, or if it's not in your list, right, you go to Other, go to the JavaFX folder now that it's there, find an empty fxml file. We'll call this one GUI Fun. And yes, we want to use a controller. This is really important. Check the Use Controller box. Go Next, Finish, and then change the name of your file here. Right, not for example, but GUI Fun.fxml for that to match. Then it should just run, right, as an empty project. Right, there'll be nothing in the GUI yet because we haven't added anything in Scene Builder yet. And it's empty, but it launches, no errors. So life is good. So now we can start adding stuff. So again, if we've set up Scene Builder, went to Tools, Options, Java, JavaFX, and told it where Scene Builder is installed, you should just be able to right-click the fxml file and say Open, or right-click and Edit. Why don't I have my Edit option? Open. It's not opening with Scene Builder. NetBeans, you're the worst. Scene Builder, apply. Okay. Yes, I have Scene Builder right there. Please work. Nothing. Come on. All right, I'm going to close NetBeans and reopen it because I want Scene Builder to work. You could also open Scene Builder and go browse to it, but that's annoying too. Let me just close NetBeans and see if that does it for me. I'll keep my fingers crossed. Come on, NetBeans. There it goes. We'll get there. Maybe we'll get there. Yeah, give him some time, Mr. Hamill. Patchy has to cook the beans. Goodness. I don't know. Shouldn't be that slow. That's really sad. What's it even doing? Yeah. Stupid desktop window manager. This, if I don't reboot often enough, this one gets really screwy. I think that's why it's eating up all the onboard GPU. Yeah, it's going well, Mr. Hamill. How are you doing? Thanks for hanging out. We'll get there. So I can't, OBS doesn't use my graphics card, which is sad, because then it can't capture the desktop screen, because the desktop itself doesn't render with the graphics card or something like that. There's some weird workaround, which is sad. All right, we're back. I think we're back. Now let's go load the projects. Not services. I want projects. There we go. GUI fund. Eating my onboard GPU to prevent it from overheating. No, the heating is, or the cooling is pretty bad on these Surface Books, which is disappointing. I think the newer version is going to have some better better onboard fans. All right, we're getting there. GUI fun XML. Right click. There we go. We got open and edit. Yeah. So now open should launch Scene Builder for me, and we can play with Scene Builder. All right, now we've got Scene Builder. Cool. So there's a bunch of containers. These are things you can put other items inside of. A lot of different layouts here, but we're going to focus on a couple more controls now. So we've done buttons. I want to look at checkboxes as a multi-select, right? A checkbox, you can have one or many checked, or a radio button is one and only one can be checked. So sort of like if you are asking somebody what they want on their Subway sandwich, it's probably checkboxes, because you can get any and all the vegetables, any combination. But if you're asking someone what kind of milk do they want to put in their coffee, is it regular milk, is it soy milk, almond milk, or oat milk? Right? That's probably a radio button choice. Only one of those milks is what you're going to add. I don't think most people add more than one, but maybe they do. And that's what we can do at our coffee shop. So we can have them pick that. So let's drag some radio buttons in. There's one. And now radio buttons, you have to group them together so that one and only one of them can be picked. So we're going to have, we'll call this one coffee. Let's call this one espresso. And this one, how about this one will be tea? Okay. So we gave them descriptions here. And then we should probably like tell the user how much these things cost, right? So we'll say, how much should our coffee cost at our little coffee shop? What do we charge for coffee? Like $1? $2.50. All right, let's go $2.50 for coffee. $2.50. How much for espresso? If coffee's $2.50, what do we charge for espresso? Like $2.99? $2.99 for a shot. And then tea's a little bit cheaper, right? We do $1.99 for tea. Okay. They can pick coffee, they can pick espresso, they can pick tea. Now, to make these things be in a group, you have to give them the toggle group. So this will be the drink toggle group. So we're going to pick which drink we want here. We label them all with the drink toggle group. And then we should probably have one selected by default. So let's say coffee is the default option. And then one or many of them will be picked. Okay? Then we need our milk options. Right, so we're going to have whole milk. We'll add in, how about, oops, it's not lined up quite right. It doesn't need to be like perfect, but a little bit of alignment is helpful. Whole milk, soy milk, almond milk, oh, not one of those, radio button. Okay, so whole milk, we'll do soy milk. And now soy milk is usually an additional charge, right? Because it's more expensive than regular milk. I mean, not too much more, but a little bit more. How about almond milk? Probably also another 50 cents for a little shot of almond milk. And then oat milk apparently is a thing. I heard someone talking about oat milk. 50 cents for oat milk. So an additional charge for those. Whole milk's free. Now let's add those to the milk toggle group. So one and only one of those can be picked. But we probably also want an option for people who like their coffee black, right? And they don't want any milk added to it. So we'll add one more radio button then for no milk or black coffee. Let's add one more here. So black coffee, add that to our milk option. And let's make that one be selected by default. Right? So you can pick which type then here. And then they all need IDs. So if I want to reference them in code, I need them to all have an ID. So that FX ID. So this will be my drink coffee. Now I like naming them by their group. So like real quickly, they're all named similar. If I just have coffee, espresso, and tea, then it's a little harder for me to find them all together sometimes. Espresso, so I put them all with the toggle group as the prefix for their name here. This is drink tea. And then for these ones, this is milk black, milk whole, milk soy, milk almond, and milk oat. Okay, and then all of these also have that on action that can be set. Now you can have individual event handlers per button, or you can have them all use the exact same one. So in our case, no matter which button you click, I want it to show the item. Like here's the thing you're ordering. So we're going to go with we call this like update item maybe, and let's do the same event handler for all of them. So they'll all, no matter which button we click, trigger this update item event handler where we can go and show them, hey, here's the item with all of your options. Okay. That one, we got that one, and we got this one. Okay, and then we need probably a place to display this, so I'll grab a little label here. Maybe we'll just put it down here. Call this one the receipt, maybe. Sure. And then I don't want it to have any text, so let's take out the text. Change the font, make it a little bit bigger here. Again, Comic Sans is our best font. A little bit larger. 35 might be too much. How about 23? Sure. That ought to do. Okay, and that label then, right, if you lose it, just come back to this document view on the left, and you can go find it again here, because I need an ID for the label. We give it a receipt. So receipt, label. Okay, make sure you save. You get the little blue bar, either File Save or Control S Save. Come back, right-click the FXML and say Make Controller. Here's where all the magic happens. Our controller file, the GUI Fun controller now, gets updated with all of the attributes. Right? Anything we gave a name shows up as a private instance attribute. Here's all the FXML tags, right? Initialize is kind of like the constructor, and then here's our event handler, the update item. So for update item, if we want to see which one of these is selected, then we can ask and say which one is selected. So we can say, hey, if my drink coffee is selected, there we go. Then I'm going to take that label, right? So I'm going to need a string for the receipt. Starts off as nothing, and I can take my receipt plus equals coffee was $2.50, right? Great. And then if it wasn't that, if it was another one, if it wasn't coffee, if it was espresso, so drink espresso, or else if it was drink tea, we'll say here's your espresso. That was $2.99, and then tea was $1.99, right? $1.99 for tea. Okay, and now we also need to keep track of this total, because we're going to have a grand total when we're done. So we'll have a total cost, starts off at 0, and we'll take our total cost plus equals $2.50. Right, in this case, we'll take our total cost, and we can add $2.99. Or in this case, we'll take our total cost, and we'll add $1.99. Did I spell that wrong? I did. I spelled total wrong. Okay, we've got that. Now we need to look and see which milk is selected. Right, so we can say if milk, if it's black was selected, we don't have to do anything, actually. So that one we don't need to really care about. But if they selected, say, almond milk, that is selected. Then we'll take our receipt, and we want to add to it. Now we need to add our own new lines here, and like maybe a space or two. You could do a tab or just, you know, a little bit here. We'll say with almond milk, plus 50 cents here. And then we'll take our total cost plus equals 50 cents, 0.5, right? And if it wasn't almond milk, else if it was soy milk, or else if it was oat milk. So milk, oat milk, or milk, almond, oat, and soy with oat milk, with soy milk. And then if we had a regular milk or whole milk, right, there was no additional cost for that. But if it was milk whole, right, with whole milk, no additional drink charge. Okay, then when all that's done, we want to take our label, and we want to set the text, to our receipt. Now, but we also need to charge sales tax, right? So we can figure out what our sales tax is. So double for sales tax is my total cost times 0.06 for Michigan sales tax, 6% sales tax. We'll take our receipt, and we can add to it sales tax of plus my sales tax. And maybe add the dollar sign to make this look kind of pretty. And then we'll take our receipt plus equals a total cost. Total cost is going to be then my sales tax plus the total cost. And again, for set order of operations, make sure we do that arithmetic first. Okay, and we'll add all that to the receipt, and then we'll set text for the receipt. We'll see now as we click these buttons, everything updates. So Mr. Hamel, it's the same thing. We're just using the same event handler for all of those items here. Oh, yep, new lines. Good. You get some bonus points there. That's right, we need some new lines. Those are good fun controller. Thank you. New line, new line. Yep. Thank you. All right, let's try that again. Yeah, so we just said we want all of them to use the same event handler method. You could use just separate methods too, as well. Same thing you can do in .NET. All right. So now the problem is we don't have anything with the default options. So like I have to go pick one to make it show, oh, and the rounding is terrible. That's okay. So T for $1.99 with whole milk, with soy milk, with almond milk, with oat milk, espresso, coffee. Right? Looking good so far? So if we wanted to do the rounding, we could do the nice little formatting and all that good stuff, but with like string format and use the % or 0.2f sort of things. Not too concerned about the rounding right now. But now we haven't really used a class for anything though. Right? We've done all of the logic here in our controller, our GUI fun controller, which is, it works, but it's not necessarily ideal, right? So let's do this. Let's go add a class here then for drink. And then drink will have a couple things about itself, right? Drink will know a private string for, I don't know what the name of the drink is. It'll have a private double for the cost, right? And then if we've added anything to it, like a string for milk, right? We can do all those. So let's add sets and gets. So we'll go insert code. Let's getters and setters. Add them all. Yes, please. And let's add a constructor. Insert code. Let's add a constructor. Probably name and cost. We don't necessarily know the milk right away, so maybe we'll go set the milk later. Right, so then we'll say this.milk equals nothing to start, because we need to give the attributes values, and we don't want null, because null is no fun. So give it some sort of value here. Okay? And then maybe we need another method here, like a public, how about a string for receipt that does all the things our other receipt did for us, right? It got the name of the drink, it got the with any milk added, and it got the total cost, right? Or got the tax and it got the total cost. The drink might have tax as an attribute, or maybe we just are having like a static value. So we could have a public static final sales tax 0.06. Again, this is not ideal because it only works here in Michigan, right? You might want this to be flexible. Standard final int, no, double. But in our case, this is fine. We want something that says, hey, what state you're in, and we could set all these up per state for different state sales taxes, but that's probably more complicated than we want. So for our receipt then, we'll take a string for receipt equals nothing to start. Actually, probably starts with the name of the drink. Starts with name, and then we'll take if we have milk. Actually, no, so we need name, and then we need receipt. Receipt plus equals the $, right? Plus my cost, right? And then if milk does not equal nothing, right? And then we'll say receipt plus equals that new line with plus the milk, right? Whatever our milk choice was. If it's not nothing, if it is nothing, great, leave it alone. And then we'll have a double for sales tax equals the cost times the sales tax. And we'll take a receipt, we'll add in that line for sales tax plus sales tax. And then our receipt plus equals another new line for total cost plus cost plus sales tax. And force the order of operations out of those again, right? Make sure they go together first, and then we add them to the receipt. then when we're done, we can return the receipt. Right? This way we can make our drink with a name and cost, and we'll set it all up here. That sound okay so far? So back in our controller then, instead of building out the receipt ourselves and building out this total cost of everything, we can pretty quickly say, hey, I need a drink, and we can add a drink here. We can say, hey, I want a private drink for the drink at the class level, right? So it exists at the class level. Why does it not like it? Hides another field? Where? What am I doing? Field hides another field. It's already defined. We already defined drink? Oh, we did. The toggle group. Shoot. So we need to call it something else. So we'll call that the drink, I don't know, selected drink. Okay. Now we can either set it once here and do a bunch of sets and gets if we wanted. So we can do that initialize. We'll say our selected drink is a new drink, and we'll give it that default. We said we knew it was coffee and $2.50, right? Was the original drink here? Okay. And then in update item, we're going to say, hey, if they picked coffee, then we'll say select the drink dot set name is coffee, and my selected drink dot set cost is $2.50. Right? So we don't need to be building out these individually here. We'll do coffee and tea, or espresso. Espresso was $2.99. This was tea for $1.99. Okay, and then if we selected those, we're going to take our selected drink dot set milk, and we're going to set the milk to almond milk. Right? We're going to set it to oat milk, set it to soy milk, set it to whole milk, and then if we don't have another one that was selected, right, this else case, or maybe if it was elf milk black was selected, if that was selected, then we can say, need my curly brace, it was just a nothing string, right? So this is whole milk, this was soy milk, this was oat milk. Okay, we got all those. Now we also need to add to the cost then, right? So we can either use the set cost method, or we can have an add cost, right? Either one's fine, right? We could set or we could add. So I'm going to add an add here, public void add cost, give it a double cost. We'll take this cost plus equals the cost to make life easier for me, because otherwise I'd have to get or call set and give it the get plus something. In this case, I can just say, hey, let's add in 50 cents. So my selected drink dot add cost 0.5, right, for the almond milk. And I guess we should say that too, right? 0.5, because that was showing up with our display. We'll say the milk was extra expensive, right? Oat and soy, the other milks were free. So add cost, add cost, add cost. The other ones were free. Okay, I don't need to do any of that. So I can set text given my selected drink dot receipt. Probably should be get receipt. So maybe go rename that one here. So I don't like just receipt here. We'll call this get receipt. We're going to go to refactor rename. Right? Don't do it by hand because you have to rename it everywhere else yourself. Call it get receipt. And it's going to update it both places, not only here, but it'll update it in our controller as well for get receipt. Now we're using that instance of the class to do this for us. Right? So all of my buttons are doing is saying, hey, class, set this property, set this property, set this property here. Right? And actually, we probably want then, too, this whole piece here. Let's pull this out into another method here. Make this a private void update label. And then I can call update label on my default drink. Right? So when the drink starts, right, or the very first page loads, nothing has been clicked yet, but I can say, oh, here's the cost for the black coffee. because we want to make life easy for our people running the cash register. Most people buy this default drink, right? So we'll start it as the default. Or maybe it's a self-checkout kiosk. Who knows what we're doing here with this. Okay, so now we get coffee, sales tax, total. We got espresso, we get this. Oh, so we can go fix the rounding now. So that'll be in our drink class. Where did our drink class go? Here it is. I can close out these other tabs. That's what the problem is. Don't need these other tabs open. Okay, so if we want to do the rounding, then, right, that is string.format. Nope, format. Given the string to format, and then I want a %.2f, right, round to 2 decimal places for a floating point number. Please don't memorize it. Go look it up. It's not worth keeping that in your head, but I've done this often enough that that one at least I've got in my head. %.2f, given those ones there. Okay, so it should round a little bit nice here. Okay, if string.equals nothing, and then not. There we go. Now it's happier with that, because using the not equals was ugly. All right, so now we've got our class here, so we can set up classes. We can have instances of classes set, and we can get all their attributes and update labels based on those attributes. Does that make sense? So we can use a class to do all these things to set all the labels for us. So that's the idea with our final project, right? We're going to make the player class, we're going to make these room classes, and we can set stuff up, and then we can set labels based on what's happening. So every time I want to update the player, I can go get whatever their strength is, their agility is, or dexterity or intelligence. I forget what the stats were called again. I can get their gold, and I can have a bunch of labels that I go update. I can be one label, I could do one label per attribute. Any way you want to set those up is fine. I'll just say, hey, go update that label. So this is updating the drink label, essentially. And it uses the class to give me, hey, this is the string we're going to spit out onto the GUI for us. And life is good. Or I can do one attribute at a time. In our case, the single label is probably easier for us, and that's all we're going to do here. Does that make sense? So to do that, right, we just add our own private attribute, and then we initialize it. You could do it in a constructor, but essentially, if you want to do it in initialize, you can go update your labels. If you try and update labels in an actual constructor method, it's going to fail, because initialize has to happen first, so that these fxml variables actually exist. Otherwise, you'll get some sort of null reference exception saying they don't exist. Right? And that same idea, how our rooms would have NPCs. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We can do the same sort of check. We said, hey, if it's not nothing here, or you could use null. Hey, if it's not null, go update a bunch of labels. If it is null, my NPC label is blank. Nothing's going to happen. And then some other fun things you can do. You can have buttons that turn on and off. So if I have a button here, and we'll call this, we'll call this the checkout button. Checkout. So that's my checkout button. I need to give it a ID here. We'll call this the checkout button. Nope, 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 nope. I need the button has to have an ID. There we go. That's the checkout button. So the checkout button has an ID. Now let's go back here and we'll say, how about none of these are selected? I'll undo that. We'll say none of these are picked to start. We'll let them go pick which one they want. And that's fine. So back in our code then, instead of updating the labels, we'll just forget that here. And then when they go update an item, then I can say, well, I'm sorry, initialize, I'm going to take my checkout button. No, checkout button. Oh, I forgot, I got to update the controller. Make sure it's saved, right-click the fxml, make controller. Now I've got a checkout button. So checkout button dot set enabled. Is it set disabled? Set disabled to true will turn the button off so it can't be clicked. Then when I go pick something here, I can set disable. Checkout button dot set disable to false. And say, okay, button, turn back on. So when it starts here, I won't have anything picked. There's no receipts, no labels or anything showing. The checkout button will be off. So disable true will means it's kind of grayed out. Here, so I can't click it. It's not clickable. Once I pick an option, now I can go do my checkout thing, right, and pick one of these. And I could even set that drink option if it was picked to black. I don't know, other fun things. But now the button then can turn on and off based on different actions. So we can do that same sort of thing. If you can't go to the east, we could turn off the east button if there's no direction to go. Right? You might have like a north, an east, a south, and a west button, and you could turn them on and off based on where you are in the maze, or if the room next to it is blocked or not. Right? We could turn them on and off. You could turn on sleep buttons or fight buttons, turn off the fight button if there's no monster to fight, if you wanted to get fancy. Those sorts of things. Is that making sense? So stuff we got to play with for sure. Stuff we got to play with. And then one other thing I want to show, which is fun, is the, let me open this back up. It's a text area. So a text area, where'd it go here? Text area gives you like an automatic scrolling text box here. So this will be our text area. Text area. And let's say, let me save that here. And how about we add a handler for checkout? So when you click checkout, we'll say on action, we'll say checkout. That'll be our on action here. So come back, we'll close this one out. Go back and make controller, right click the fxml, make controller. And how about now, once we check out, let's take our text area and we'll append text the drink, select the drink, dot receipt. And append text is automatically just going to keep on adding text to it. So if I want to order more than one drink now, I can just use this text area and I can keep on adding stuff to it. So if I want to buy 3 different coffees, right, so here's a coffee that's black. Oh, I got to move it around a little bit. When I check out, it's going to add it here. And then if I want to buy a tea, I check out, it's going to add it here. And okay, so I guess I need to add some new lines. So we'll do that as well. Append text and then text area dot append text. Append text. Oh my goodness. This is terrible, terrible. Append text. That one. We'll add in our own new line character, just to keep that separated a little bit. But the idea now, it just keeps a running log of what's happening. So if in your terrible adventure game, if you have a running log like, hey, you go south, you can append that to a text area. You fight a monster, you hit or you miss, append it to the text area. So everything that happens can be this little running log of text here. That kind of is the story that's happening, along with all the fixed labels. Here's your stats, here's the NPC stats, here's the rooms you can go to, that sort of thing. We got options. So this way we can kind of nicely keep a log of everything that's happening. And maybe this is my receipt printer. Hydration reminder. Oh my goodness, my friends. Wow, thank you so much. Stretch. I think I need to add a cooldown for that hydration amount here, because I don't think I've got enough Coke here to drink all that. I'll give it a try real quick. Nope. That's about as much Coke as I can get. And Coke burps inside of masks are awful, by the way. You definitely don't want to drink too much carbonated stuff. You're going to put your mask back on after. That's no fun for anybody. All right. So again, we can pick our coffee. We can pick it how we want it. Add our checkout. You know, slide things around, make it look a little prettier here. Maybe I'll move that label. Or maybe we can put it up here. Let's put it up there. And then checkout. And then the fun thing is it will automatically scroll for you. So if you buy a bunch of drinks, it's going to automatically add a scroll bar. There's no extra work you need to do for adding scroll bars. So let's add a bunch of black coffees. And you see it's automatically scrolling for me. So I can kind of scroll back and see where it was, which is fun. All right. I think that's all I've got for some additional JavaFX stuff. Again, we'll hit it harder next semester if you do continue on. This is sort of an intro to it. We've got enough to build our games now, I think, with our different buttons, turning actions on and off, adding our own individual options. So like this drink here, it gets a little funny because they get moved around a little bit, but it, you know, you can put it at the top, you can put it at the bottom, doesn't matter too much. Some people like them at the top. Nope, I thought I copied that. And give it a little format. So should all work here for us. Then we can have it go. So have your buttons, have your event handlers deal with the class, right? And go get values, set values based on what buttons you click. And you can do things there. append text. Wow, that goes over here. \n. There we go. I think I really messed something up there. All right, so let me go commit this to GitHub. A little example. And we can go from there. So the rest of the night, we've got project work time, working on that final project. We have all of next week. If you want to come, great. If you want to be remote, I'll be hanging out on Discord, or I can hop on Zoom sessions if you want to do some screen sharing. We're good there. Ooh, what did I change in project 4? Oh, I removed the logging. That's fine. So here's GUI fun. GUI fun. Commit and push. All right. Any other questions from folks online? If not, I think we've got time to work. Should be in pretty good shape. So, you know, put the time into it, work on it. It's that's all we have left in the semester. So definitely several hours a week, right? It's a 4-credit class. So ideally you've been spending at least 8 hours outside of class every week doing stuff for class. So that time goes into it. But if you get stuck on something, give it a good half hour to an hour trying to figure it out yourself, or reach out to me anytime. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and we'll get you unstuck and moving again. So I had several comments from the Wednesday morning class where people got stuck and they didn't want to ask questions, and then when they finally realized they needed to ask questions, it was like the night before it was due. Let's not do that with the final project, because I know you folks have other stuff going on. If we can get it done by next week at night, you've got nothing to worry about for finals in terms of this. That'd be fantastic. But if you need the extra time, work on up to it till it's due. I'll do what I can to help you out, okay? All right, folks, you take care. I will see you around.